Hey everybody, today how to be spiritual AF with Shamanic Awakening.
In this episode of the Shamanic Death Initiation Revealed. I'm Heather.
And I'm David
from ZenRoseGarden.
.com.
Yes.
Helping people create
badass lives. In a nutshell, the Shamanic Death Initiation is a reboot for your psyche that can take place in a variety of ways in your life.
This could be an actual near-death experience, or this could be something intentional.
Right. This could happen in dreams as a spontaneous event or during a meditation. First, let's describe what happens in a typical shamanic death initiation vision or dream. So spontaneously, you might have this kind of dream when you're going through a really traumatic time period in your life.
So we're giving you the structure of this shamanic death initiation so that you understand what it is when it happens or when you hear stories about it.
And like I said, this could happen in a variety of ways. But typically, let's say it happens in a dream or a vision, you may experience your body being torn apart limb from limb, or all of your skin coming off, or falling from a high cliff and burning up into ashes. And at the bottom of that pile of ashes, or at the very bottom of a pit, is this diamond that is left after you have disintegrated. This is sometimes called shamanic death and dismemberment.
So basically, the pieces and parts of your old self are being torn apart to reveal the one piece of your truth that you then begin to rebuild your authentic self upon.
So typically in this kind of vision or dream that is spontaneous or forced intentionally, that diamond becomes a part of you and your body rebuilds with new flesh and bones, all pure and full of truth and stronger and just a better version of you with that old, fatal, non-functioning program gone forever.
You reach this point in your life where the old programs are no longer working for you and need to be broken apart. So basically, you reach this breaking point in your psyche where the old doesn't work anymore and it's time to birth the new you.
And this acts like a reboot for your psyche. It's basically the point of no return. You can't go back to your old self and you are moving forward with something strong, the super you.
The super you.
The super you.
And sometimes you are thrust into this new life of a spontaneous nature, or we can incorporate this into an intentional opening.
And sometimes people will force this shamanic death and dismemberment vision or experience through ayahuasca or different kinds of drug experiences, or through prolonged fasting or vision quest or sweat lodge, for instance.
And basically, this is what happened in the 60s. Spontaneous opening through recreational drugs that opened people's minds to this new awareness that they weren't necessarily ready for, so they had to play catch up.
So people like Aldous Huxley and Richard Albert, who would later change his name to Ram Dass.
And that might be a name you're familiar with.
Right, that's probably how you know him. But Richard Albert and Aldous Huxley were doing experiments with psychotropics in the 60s because they noticed, and a group of people that were working with it noticed, that these drug experiences would duplicate the shamanic death and dismemberment vision.
And this is an experience that is culture-wide throughout the entire world in different stages of development of an individual.
So the purpose overall is when the shaman or the person going through healing goes through this experience, they have overcome death and overcome the fear of dying. So if you overcome the fear of dying, you then begin to live fully and completely and joyfully.
So this is the point where the old fatal programs inside of our mind and some of those that may threaten the system begin to break down and break through into new programs that fit your truth better.
And this can be a really dramatic thing, or it can be something very simple. So you may have to use a little bit of your imagination to recognize when you're having a death and dismemberment
experience,
shamanic death initiation sort of thing happening to you, because depending on your culture and your experience, you may have a dream or a vision in a different way. Like you may be having a dream where you're supposed to kill someone that's dangerous.
Or in a dream where you're bitten by a snake or a spider or some other poisonous element.
Right, and you survive the bite and become stronger. That would be another example.
And these bring you face to face with that fear of death, that fear of the old part of you dying so that the new part can be born and emerged.
So I think the overall key to recognizing if you're experiencing a death and dismemberment, a dream or vision, because they're not always as extreme as your body's melting away and then there's this diamond and you become an angel. It's not always like that. It can be very simple, like David said, like you get a bite from a spider and live, or something like that. So just recognize the important elements are the death and the rebirth.
Yes.
So if you are experiencing a death and a rebirth, that person who's dangerous in your dream might represent a part of you, then that's the same thing. It's a death and a rebirth. So we want to invite you to join our advanced focus group on Facebook for the Badass Healer.
Click the link in the description to join.
We also want to give a shout out to one of our valued subscribers.
ThinkShare.
Yes.
Thanks for all your support and thanks for joining us on this awesome journey of living and being.
Mwah. For more Badass Life tips, be sure to subscribe.
And click that bell to turn notifications on.
And we'll see you in the next video.